Commissioner General Dr. Say, we honor and appreciate your presence. And also, I know as we are waiting for the start of our official program, next to you there's a gentleman, there's a gentle lady, fearfully and wonderfully made. May we kindly greet each other. I saw Commissioner General greeting everyone. Commissioner General Dr. Se, with your permission, protocol team, they are ready, and there is lovely tea ready for everyone. So please feel free to get up and grab a cup. There are also snacks as we wait for the official start of our program. Commissioner General Say. Thank you, sir. May we all be upstanding as we pave way for our heads of sections, heads of corrections in our midst, the Commissioner Generals. Let's allow them to go first. Protocol, please assist us. Thank you.
inzira yakanaka. Tevera inzira yangu, tevera inzira yakanaka. Inzira yangu, tevera inzira yangu yakanaka. Tevera inzira yangu yakanaka. Inzira yangu, tevera inzira yangu yakanaka. Tevera inzira yangu yakanaka. Tevera itsoka dzangu, tevera itsoka dzakanaka. Tevera inzira yangu, tevera inzira yakanaka. Tevera inzira yangu, tevera inzira yakanaka.
Zimbabwe. Good morning, viewers. We are streaming to you right here from Rainbow Towers in the capital city of Harare. My name is Chief Correctional Officer Solomon Mafumo. And the purpose of the event is the Zimbabwe Prisons and Correctional Service Parole and Reintegration Conference. It is running from today up until Thursday. And I'm not moving alone. I'm with my colleagues here. From the left, I've got Chief Superintendent Solomon Mutamba.
Tinotenda kwaziwai tinokugamuchirai muri yeZimbabwe mangwanani ano tiri kuuya kwamuri live tichibva kuRainbow Towers uko kuri kukurukurwa nyaya dzeparole and reintegration iri kuparurwa pano nhasi nemutedzeri wemutungamiriri wenyika yeZimbabwe General Dr. Chiwenga vanenge vari pano nhasi vachiparura pachirongwa ichochichi cheparole tiri kutarisira kuti pachakurukurwa nyaya dzakawanda sezvo manzwa navamapfumo kuti pane vanhu vakaungana pano vari kutaridza kuti pane chirongwa chichange chikurukurwa. Tine vamwe vekunze zvakare nyika 10 dziri pano dzichange dzichibatana pamwe chete nevamwe kuti tikurukure nyaya yekuburitsa urongwa hwakanaka hweparole munyika yeZimbabwe.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Mutamba. And also to my right, I've got my beautiful sister here, Precious Ndanga.
Salibonani muli yeZimbabwe elami igama ke ngu-Principal Correctional Officer sibonakele Precious Ndanga ke ugatsha ke lweZimbabwe Prisons and Correctional Services. Sibonke namhlanje asisungula ke uhlelo lweParole and Reintegration Conference ekhona pha ke eHICC iCapital City eZimbabwe eHarare. Uhlelo lolu ke luzabe lukhonosela manje kuze kuyofika ke olwesine mhla ka4 December 2025. Sibuthene kanje silamazwe akwana ukuba lichumi anjalo laba abachiyeneyo abazabe bekhona apha sifundisana sibonisana ukubana ke kubona ke kwaba amazwe iparole bayenza njani ukusungulwa ke kweparole namhlanje ke ekhona apha kuzabe ke kuofficiatwa Vice President Constantino Chiwenga uzabe khona so sikhangelela ukubana ke ziningi izinto ezizaxoxisana ke akhona namhlanje.
Thank you very much. So delegates are still walking in. We've got various delegates coming in from various countries, including Botswana, Tanzania, Malawi, Zambia, Eswatini, Namibia, South Africa, and Angola. And we shall be interviewing some of them. So, Vamtamba, can you please tell the people, the delegates that we are actually expecting and what they are going to say?
Pazuva ranhasi vamapfumo tiri kutarisira madelegates edu abva kunyika dzakasiyana-siyana vakanyanya kuwanda vari pano ndevenyika dzeSADC. Tinoda kutenda nekutsigira kwavaita chirongwa ichochi. Toda kuti tiburitse ningira tingati gwaro richafadza munhu wese nekuti takatora nepfungwa zvakare dzevamwe vanhu muno muZimbabwe. Saka nhasi uno uyu tiri kutarisira kuti vatungamiriri vematorongo emuSADC vari pano mumwe nemumwe achapa pfungwa dzake pamusoro pekunge kwekugadzirwa kwedokumenti irori uye zvakare vanonzi Deputy Commissioner General Martins vekuNamibia ndo vachange vachimodhareta nyaya iyi nekuti kunyika dzakaita sana Namibia vamapfumo nana South Africa dzakutoshandisa parole. MuZimbabwe tinenge tanga tatisaririrei pamusoro pechirongwa ichochi asi iye zvino izvi mushure mekunge conference iyoyi ichipera tiri kutarisira kuti vasungwa vachange vachibhenefita zvakare muchirongwa cheparole ichochi. Chirongwa ichochi ichi chirongwa vamapfumo chichabhenefita vasungwa vakawanda hakusi kutariswa mhosva bodo. Munhu wese musungwa wese ari mujere vatinavo pari zvino 26,000 vanowanawo machances ekubhenefita asi vachapinda vamapfumo mune runonzi board iroro rinenge kuti vaone kuti munhu uyu akwanisa here kuti pfungwa dzake dzavandudzika ari foma here anokwanisa here kunogara nevamwe zvakanaka kana achinge abuda jere. Saka mushure meconference iyoyi pane zvakawanda zvinofanira kutarisirwa nenyika yedu yezimbabwe nekuti nekuwana kwatiri kuita pfungwa kubva kunyika dzakasiyana-siyana totarisira kuti tichaburitsa the best parole kana kuti ningi gwaro ratingati ndo repamusorosoro pamagwaro mazhinji atinoziva eparole system inoshandiswa nenyika dzakawanda.
My sister Precious, you may also tell the viewers about the people that we are expecting here and the significance of this event.
Siyabonga ke mule Zimbabwe sikhona ke namhlanje njengesi Correctional Service. Silawo ke ahlanganise Botswana Prison Service, Tanzania Prison Service, Mauritius Penitentiary Services, Malawi Prison Service, Zambia Correctional Service, Eswatini Correctional Service, Namibia, kanye South Africa Department of Correctional Service, Mozambique Correctional Service, Angola Penitentiary Service. Selubana ke iZimbabwe ayisebenzi yodwa sisebenza sibambisana ke lamanye amazwe ke asichasileyo asisizayo njalo ukubana ke wona lo kumhlangano esifunga usungula kumbe lona lelu hlelo lweparole luzaphumelela kuhle asikhangela ukuqhakatheka ke kwalona lelu hlelo ke lweparole uzathola ukubana ke amazwe anjenge South Africa labo Namibia ngabantu vele ke asebeqalile ke lona lelu hlelo ke lweparole ngalokho ke thina ke njengeZimbabwe lulutho ezaba yi-role ngabantu bonke bake sehlale phansi ukuthi abanye bona bakwenza njalo sikhangela njalo ke iparole ichiyene benefita wonke umuntu kungakhethelekile ke ukubana wena ubani kumbe njani kuzakhangelwa njalo ukubana ke bathi ukuthi phethe kade ke December sabe ugwalo
So there you are, viewers, you have heard it. I know a number of us have got a number of questions as to what is it that is parole. And we're going to have a number of resource persons who are going to unpack this animal called parole. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And your questions will definitely be answered.
Parole and Reintegration Conference. I am joined by Mr. Trimo Paradza, Commissioner responsible for legal services and corporate affairs. Hello, sir. How are you?
Thank you, Patience, for inviting me.
So, Assistant Commissioner is going to demystify what this conference is all about at high level. So, sir, what is this conference all about, the Parole and Reintegration Conference?
Yeah, thank you, Patience, for giving me this opportunity to give an insight of what is happening here at the Harare Rainbow Towers. We are launching a parole conference to launch a parole system in Zimbabwe, prison and correctional services. The idea is to try and reintegrate inmates into the society with a view that the community itself can also assist in the rehabilitation of offenders. All along, or historically, we were rehabilitating inmates within our prisons, but we are extending these rehabilitation processes so that the community itself can also participate to mold their citizens within the communities. So what will be happening is that when an inmate would have served or had gone through various programs in the rehabilitation process within the prison system, at some stage within during the time of serving a sentence, he shall be reintegrated or be released into the community to make sure that the reintegration process also involves the community and their reintegration will be smooth and swift, unlike just to release an inmate from prison and he meets new people, he meets new communities, then there will be a problem. So we want to make sure that the parole system, it's a preparation process where an inmate, after serving a certain part of a sentence, they are released into the community, and the community will work with him to assist him to gel into the society without any problems.
All right, so ASCOM, just for clarity here, what's the difference between the community service that you give inmates and the parole system? With the parole system, will they have finished their serving, or they will still be going back at one point? So just that difference, just that separation, so that those who are watching can understand.
Yeah, it's almost similar, but slightly different. The idea is to come up with strategies where we extend the rehabilitation processes. Parole is managed by the Zimbabwe Prison and Correctional Services. Then community services, it's a sentence which is given by the courts and they are placed into the community directly without going to prison. That's where the difference is.
Okay.
So we are saying parole, it's a system where a person would have served a certain part of a sentence, depending on the length of sentence. Then at a later stage, after having completed certain rehabilitation activities or processes within a prison system, an assessment that shall be done by experts within the prison to assess whether the inmate can safely be released into the community, because the idea is we want to also to, whilst we exercise this parole system we also want to make sure that the communities are safe and secure, whilst the inmates also receive an extended rehabilitation process within the communities which they come from.
So what is the criteria? What are the measures that you look at before you say somebody is ready for parole, or the criteria that you look at for you to say somebody is ready for parole in their serving? Certain measures, not everything. You can just give us certain measures that you look at for you to then say this person is ready for parole or they are qualified for parole.
Thank you very much, Patience. You may notice that what matters most in the rehabilitation process is behavior. When inmates are in a prison setup, we have got psychologists, we have got the officer in charge and the other officers who assess the inmate during his stay or her stay. So those reports constitutes the basis for possible release on parole. So mainly what we look at is whether the inmate has got good behavior within the prison, one, whether the inmate has gone through all the rehabilitation programs within the prison. And after that, an assessment is also done to make sure that the community which he or she is going to be released into can accept him. So we also, the board, the parole board will also make an assessment of the victim if he or she wishes to come and testify before that board, to make sure that the person who is going to be released into the community is not going to traumatize the same victims where he committed the offenses. So it's a vigorous process. It's not like inmates shall be released into the community without due care. All the due processes in terms of the law or in terms of the Prison Act, in terms of the prison regulations themselves, which we are making here today, are going to make sure that the communities are going to be safe and secure even after the release of inmates into society under the parole system. Because there will be supervisors within the communities who are going to supervise the release and make sure that all what is required during the rehabilitation process under the parole system is followed.
There you have it. So there is safety on the people that are going to be working with the people that are inmates that are going to be released on parole, because I know this is this is part of what a lot of people in the society are afraid of. If you're gonna release somebody to be in the society, how safe are we working with them? But I guess that part of the reintegration that you're speaking about, where you're asking the communities and the society to accept their relative or to accept the person that's been assessed by the prisons and correctional services, because due processes would have been done to make sure that that person is ready for the society. So as we are closing, let's just speak about the general expectations in terms of this conference. At the end of it all, what are we expecting, Assistant Commissioner?
Thank you very much, Patience. The object and purpose of this conference, maybe just to mention a few, we managed to invite about 10 countries, both the regional and international states, to come and share with us their experiences concerning parole system. Because what we are going to do after this is that we are in the process of making parole regulations. Already we enacted an Act of Parliament which enables us to come up with the parole regulations. The parole regulations we are making today, or the insights we are going to get from this conference, are going to be used as best practice or standards to be infused into our parole regulations. The idea is to come up with best practices and standards which are acceptable regionally and internationally, so that at least when we make our laws, they are in sync or they are standardized within Africa and beyond. So as a way forward, after this conference, we are going to proceed with the drafting of the regulations, and possibly next year we will enact the regulations to operationalize the enabling provisions which are in the Prison and Correctional Service Act under the parole system.
Thank you very much. That was Assistant Commissioner Traimo Paradza. He is responsible for legal services and corporate affairs in Zimbabwe prisons and correctional services. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Patience, for inviting me.
Tarwira vachatidzidzisa nekutiudza kuti conference inoyi ndeyezvechi. Saka Commissioner Makadi tiripo hedu. All right. Saka conference ino ye-parole and reintegration ndechi inoita nezvei? Kune munhu akatitarira ari kuda kunzwisisa kuti inoita nezvei, chingotizivisai.
Yes, ndinotenda zvikuru. Conference ino sekuziva komunoita ende segadziro dzatakaita tichingobudza veruzhinji kuti conference yatanga nhasi. Conference takadaidza nyika dzemuregion muno dzomuAfrica dzine chokuita neparole, dzinoitawo parole kunyika kwavo. Saka conference ino iripo kuti tibatsirane navo, tichipakurirana kana kuti kushare navo kuti nyika dzavo vanozvifambisawo sei. Isu senyika ine mutemo munyowani wePrisons and Correctional Service Act tine provision wekuti tishandise parole sesystem yokubatsiridza kuvandudza vasungwa vedu pavanenge vakuenda kunopedza sentence yavo kuti vazopedza zvigaro zvavo vari kunze. Saka conference inotibatsira kuti tinzwe kune dzimwe nyika dzinopractice the same issue yekuti pavo vanozvifambisa sei uye kuti isu tigokwanisa kuzoziva kuti yedu isusu toironga sei. Munongoziva kana musungwa achibuda panze, hatidi kuti musungwa akabuda panze ondosvika otanga kuita zvimwe zvinhu zvinozoita kuti voruzhinji vafunge kuti zvatakazounzirwa izvi hazvichatiti zvakanaka. Toda kuti vanhu vari kunze vafare nemaitiro etinenge tichiita uye kuti ivo vasungwa varatidze kuti vasungwa vakukwanisa kupinda musociety vachibatanawo nesociety.
All right, Commissioner, chii chinombonzi parole? Kune munhu ari kurinzwa izwi iroro kekutanga arikuda kunzwisisa kuti chii chinombonzi parole. Pamwe mumwe akariona paTV, akambozviona paTV kune dzimwe nyika, asi akuona chirongwa chakuuya kuZimbabwe. Chii chinonzi parole?
Parole chirongwa chedu isusu semajere chekuti mukuvandudza kwetinoita vasungwa vakwanise kuzopedzisa chigwero chavo vapanze, asi vari under supervision kana kuti tichiramba tichivaongorora isusu vemumajere kusvika panoperera sentensi yake. Saka unenge akupedzisa sentensi yake ari panze achiita hake zvaanoita ikokoko, asi apo neapo tinenge tichizondosangana naye tichimuteverera tichiona kuti ari kukwanisa here kuyanana nesociety. Saka chirongwa chekuti tibatsire musungwa kuyanana nesociety isusu tisati tamusiya zvachose.
Kuti muzoti munhu akukodzera kuenda paparole, chii chamunenge maona, munenge matarisa chii semajere kuti muti munhu wedu uyu, musungwa wedu wakukodzera kuenda paparole?
Vasungwa vedu vane mhando dzakasiyana-siyana. Kazhinji tinovasiyanisa nemhosva dzavanopara, tinozovasiyanisazve nematongerwo anenge aitwa zvigwero zvavo. Vamwe vanotongwa zvigwero zvakati rebei chaizvo, vamwe vanotongwawo zviri pakati nepamwe vanotongwa zvishoma-shoma. Umwe unopara mhosva iya iri violent, umwe anongoparawo mhosva diki-diki, umwe anongobawo muchitoro shoplifting iya, then umwe anongorovanawo noumwe. Saka tichiti isusu kuti munhu akodzere anenge asevha nguva yakati kuti ari mujere, kana kuti anenge apika jere nguva yakati rebei. Kana aine chigwevo chidiki tinotarisa kuti unenge asevha yetingati 1/3 of his sentence. Kana aine chigwevo chikuru kana kuti chakarebesa zvokusvika kuma7 zvichikwira tinoti atitange asevha 2/3 of his sentence. Asi zvakadaro vose vanofanira kunge vari vanhu vanenge vakamboenda through rehabilitation programs anoitwa mujere, voita progress yetinoona, toona kuvandudzika kwavo kuti zveshwa uyu akukwanisa kuenda, nokuti akukwanisa kuenda panze, nokuti akukwanisa kuzondowana zvokuita apanze.
Thank you, Commissioner Tarwira. Zvakakosherei kuti vasungwa vaende paparole?
Chakanyanya kukosha kuti musungwa aende paparole inyaya yokuti tinoda kuti ayanane nesociety, toda kuti ayanane nenharaunda dzaakaparira mhosva, kana kuti nharaunda dzaachazondogara kana tichinge tasiyana naye abuda mujere. Saka zvinotipa mukana wekuti isusu timuongorore asi tisati tamuregedza zvachose kuti ayanana here nevanhu vakaparira mhosva, ayanana here nepachazogara, ayanana here nemunhu wachaichaiwo wakakanganisirana naye. Saka zvakakosha kuti tikaona vayanana kudero tinozoziva kuti musungwa zvakureva kuti akukwanisa kuitawo kushandawo achikwanisa kuriritira mhuri yake, achikwanisawo kushanda nesociety zvakanaka pasina kuti azopara zvimwe mhosva.
Asi mukuongorora kwenyu zvinoratidza here kuti vanenge vapara mhosva havazopare futi imwe mhosva? Mavaregedza vaenda kuparo mukuongorora kwenyu mutsvakurudzo dzenyu?
Mutsvakurudzo, yes. Chatakaona ndechekuti zvinoita kuti vaparezve mhosva asi zvinenge zvazvishoma pane kwavasingawani inonzi parole yazviyo. Nekuti parole kazhinji munhu akazobuda pokupedzisira paanonopinda musociety muya mune yatingati shoko inoitika yekuti vanomutambira vanomuvhunduka. Kuvhundukwa kuya kuchaita kuti iyewo amire kwake ega uko yatingati anoitwa isolated. Kana aitwa isolated hazvinetsi kuti mukonane naye, ende kana makonana naye akutopara zvemhosva. Saka mutsvagurudzo takaona kuti akapota achimboenda kumusha kuya isu tichitevera anotadza kupara mhosva kechipiri nenyaya yekuti anoziva kuti tiripo.
Munotevera?
Tinenge tichimuteverera. Akavhiringidza mitemo takamupa unodzokera mukati. Saka iye nekusada kudzokera mukati anombotiteerera. Saka mukuteerera imomo zvakutoita kuti ayanane nesociety vakutokwanisa kushanda vese zvekuti panozopera sentensi yake imwe nguva havatozombozivi kuti sentensi yake yakapera nokuti vanozongoona tisisipo.
Tatenda tanga tina Commissioner Christmas Tarwira vachitsanangura zvakadzika zvakadzama nenyaya yeparole conference. Tinotenda.
Tinotenda zvikuru.
Republic of Zimbabwe, Comrade CGDN Chiwenga. Let's give him a round of applause. Commissioner General Dr. Say, with your permission, in our midst today, we have very important delegates from the SADC region. These include representatives from Eswatini. Delegates from Eswatini. I thought you were going to stand up so that everyone will see your uniforms so that we celebrate you as well. We also have Botswana in our midst, Tanzania. When I talk of loving your uniform, that's what I mean. Let's give them a round of applause. Nice colors there. Thank you, ma'am. Namibia. Zambia. Seychelles. No Seychelles. Democratic Republic of Congo. Malawi. Akwatu. Malawians. Madagascar. Mauritius. Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, your presence at this noble event is a testament to our shared commitment to corrections and rehabilitation. And ladies and gentlemen, today marks a significant milestone in pursuit of correctional transformation.
Kusukisela namhla u1 December kusiyafika ku5 December silomhlangano oqhakathekileyo kakhulu wona lo ovele wawutsho i-Regional Parole Conference. I-conference leyi ngeyokuba ihlanganisa amazwe akule awe-Africa angu-10 alohlelo oluthiwa ngole-parole. Ngokunjalo lapha siyabe sihlanganisa amakhanda singamazwe achiyeneyo sibonisana ukuthi inhlelo ze-parole sizihambisa njani kumazwe achiyeneyo sifunda komunye ngomunye siqondisana sibonisana ukuthi uhlelo lolu ukuze liphumelele emazweni wonke kuyini okungenziwa.
Asibonge baba Sibanda, ukukhona umlaleli mhlawumbe ngabe ekhangele ozibala la uqala ukubana ke iParole kumbe omunye uyake ibone ke kuma movie kumbe ezukubana ke amazweni ahlanganisa lapho South Africa kumbe Namibia kule Parole linake lingayichasa ukubana ke iParole nguyini.
Yebo sibili, iParole kwezemajele luhlelo oluqhakathekileyo kakhulu. Ngingathi khona luhlelo olwenye indlela izibotshwa zethu ezipika ngokhona zisemakhaya azo. Okujayelekileyo ukuthi izibotshwa zipika izigwebo zazo eziyabe ziziphiwe ngamadale zisemajele zisentilongweni, kodwa ngendlela yokuguqula yokufundisa izibotshwa lokwenza ukuthi bajayele lapho abahlala khona, njalo ngendlela yokuzama ukuthi izihlobo zibamukele, sibanika ithuba elokuthi nxa sebesalelwe yizigwebo ezingani sezizimfitshane kumacala abo abapikelayo ezigwebeni ababe beziphiwe ngamadale, bephume beqedisa izigwebo zonezo bengamakhaya abo, kodwa bazabe belonke bengaphansi kwesigaba semajele. Sizabe thina silonke si supervisor ababe bekwenza khona ngale, kodwa luhlelo oluqhakathekileyo kakhulu ngoba lwenza ukuthi izihlobo zikwanise ukubamukela, zibone ukuthi ngabantu asebeguqukile, njalo bekwanise ukuthi besebenzise insuku zabo ezinye zokucina ezesigwebo besebenzela imuli zabo bengasemakhaya.
Asibonge baba Sibanda ngokuchasisa khona khona ubana ke iParole kuyini njalo itholwa ngabantu ababemi kanjani. Mhlawumbe ungasitshela kumahluko aphakathi kweParole leAmnesty.
Kulomehluko sibili phakathi kweParole leAmnesty. iAmnesty luhlelo lokuxolela izibotshwa oluyenziwa ngumongameli, uyesula isigwebo sonke siyabe sesisele, uyabe sexolelwe, engaphuma uyabe ngabhiki, uyabe ngasaphingi, kodwa iParole lanxa esephumile uyabe lonke sapika isigwebo sakhe kuze kuyefika kumbe kuze kukwane insuku zonezo ayemele azibhike esentilongweni, kodwa uziqedisela esengekhaya. Ngathi umehluko nje wona lo ukuthi iAmnesty uZulu kumele azi ukuthi iAmnesty isigwebo siyabe sesesuliwe saphela sonke, lese siyabe sisele uyahlexolelwe ngakho sonke siphele. iParole uyaqhubeka elonke ephika abemajele belonke bemlandelela bemsupervisor besiyabona ukuthi uphila njani lo Zulu, uphila njani lo mphakathi.
Asibonge baba Sibanda, sikhangele iParole nale kambe singathi iqhakatheke okunganani kube ngesilungu bayithi what's the impact of
iParole kithi thina ababona ngezemajele iqhakathekile kakhulu kunye la kuzibotshwa ngoba iyenza ukuthi emajele sehlise inano labantu abasemajele, at the same time yenza ukuthi umuntu xa eyisibotshwa eseselele esigwebo esingane silitshwana anelise ukuyasebenzela imuli yakhe kunye efika isigwebo sakhe. Ngokunjalo iqhakathekile kithi thina emajele ukwehlisa inamba yabantu, asikhathi sinye isenza ukuthi umuntu asebenzele imuli yakhe ekhululekile ephandle, ezinuka amakhwapha ebona ukuthi akumelanga adale amacala ngokuzabuyela futhi entilongweni.
Asiphetha ingxoxo yethu baba Sibanda, kuyini ke okungakhangelelwa ke imuli yeZimbabwe sikhangelona lomhlangano akanye lokusungulwa kumbe ngatsho okweParole?
Kumuli yeZimbabwe iParole luhlelo oluqhakathekileyo kakhulu kodwa njengeZimbabwe Prisons and Correctional Service besingakalusunguli lolu hlelo ngemva komhlangano lo sikhangelela ukuthi kumnyaka lo suqalayo siqalise kumbe sisungule uhlelo lweparole kuZimbabwe Prisons and Correctional Service ngakho imuli yeZimbabwe kumele iyamukela abantu laba ababe kuparole besebenze labo kuhle ngoba abantu abayazabe beza kwana kulona luhlelo ngabantu ababe bebonakele ukuthi sebelokuthembeka sebeguqukile sebezwisisa sebekwazi ukuthi kuqhakathekile ukuthi behlalisane lomphakathi bengadali amacala.
Asibonge imuli yeZimbabwe besixoxa ke lo babu Alois Sibandela igama ke ngu-Principal Correctional Officer asibonakele Precious Ndanga sixoxisana ke nge Parole and Reintegration Conference okenzakala khona apha eHICC kusukela namhlanje kuze kuyefika ke umhla ka-4 December. Siyabonga.
Thank you.
To give us a word of prayer, say. Let's clap hands for him as he walks to the stadium.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and all very senior officers who are here from the SADC region. I would also want to welcome you before I offer my prayer. Shall we pray? Our eternal God, one in whom all things were created, the God who loves us in this region of Africa, the God in whom He has a purpose for us as Africans in this continent. As we gather at this place, we seek for your wisdom. We are thankful today receiving of our guests within this continent of Africa. And we thank you for jetty mercies and the journey mercies for those who may have used the road traveling to this place. We are quite delighted today as we are here on our own as correctional officers, led by our generals who are here, as we come together to engage, to interact, to share, so that ourselves we are able to champion the route towards effective parole system, towards the agenda of successful rehabilitation and reintegration. Lord, we seek your wisdom and your knowledge as we shall be learning from each other. Help us to open our minds that we appreciate to learn from each other for the betterment that on our own we are able to sit and to apply those things that we have internalized for the purpose of transforming our works. We pray for this day, we pray for this event, we pray for successive sessions that shall accumulate in this place. Lord, that you guide us in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Senior Chaplain in the Zimbabwe Prisons and Correctional Service, Assistant Commissioner Maurice Mchanyerei. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you.
We have had the demystification of this conference. We have inmates that are serving their sentences. Some of them are almost ending their sentences. But this conference is about reintegrating them into the society. They have served a third of their sentence. They are behaving well. They behave like they should be. warrants that they get into the society. And this is the deliberation that is happening here. Reintegration into the society. People that have known them since their birth, people that have grown up with them, they need to go back to those communities. They need to align with the people in those communities. This conference is going to give us all those details. You have to accept them as Zimbabweans as they get into communities, as they get to finalize, to embrace them so that they do not commit those crimes again. Expecting the Vice President, Comrade CGDN Chiwenga, who is going to officially open this conference. We expect you to continue to follow the proceedings so that you get to know all the nitty-gritties of this parole and reintegration conference. Thank you for watching.
Involving positions such as program officer and offender counselor, deputy commissioner responsible for community corrections, deputy commissioner responsible for community supervision, the commissioner responsible for rehabilitation, acting commissioner responsible for reintegration, and Deputy Commissioner General responsible for rehabilitation and reintegration, the position she currently holds. How about a pam-pam? Deputy Commissioner General Martin here has been instrumental in the implementation of Namibia Correctional Service Offender Risk Management Correctional Strategy, which guides the management of offenders from the point of admission to the expiration of their sentences. Other achievements include the development of a new community supervision framework for offenders released conditionally in Namibia and doubling the involvement of the Namibia Correctional Service in the administration and supervision of community service order operations countrywide by rolling out the program from 25 to 60 courts by November 2025. I will ask you for another powerful round of applause. That's our moderator for today, Deputy Commissioner General Martin. She's dedicated and highly motivated. That's why she is here. She's passionate about offender rehabilitation and reintegration. She has shared her knowledge at various international platforms, such as the United Nations Congress on Crime Prevention and Crime Justice, United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime Expert Group meetings, the International Corrections and Prison Association, the African Correctional Services Association, as well as at trainings conducted by the United Nations Asia and Far East Institute for the Prevention of Crime and the Treatment of Community Supervision in the Criminological Southern African Journal of Criminology. Madam Martin, she's a holder of a master's degree in clinical psychology, and her professional associations include being a board member of the International Association for Correctional and Forensic Psychology, as well as a member of that board's Correctional Mental Health Leadership Network. She's also a member of the program committee of the International Corrections and Prisons Association and serves on a number of its networks. Madam, we celebrate you today. Like I said, I'm not alone. We have DCG, the Deputy Commissioner General, Madam Martin. She's our moderator, starting from today up to the 4th of December. We are in December, ladies and gentlemen. And we also have Madam F. Chakauya. Madam F. Chakauya there. Let's celebrate her. Madam Chakauya is an experienced academic, having been in academia for over 18 years. 18 years, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give her a pom-pom, a very big pom-pom. She is the chairperson in the Department of Public Law at the Midlands State University, where she is serving as the Dean of Students. Madam Chakauya is passionate about issues of reform, inclusive development, and policy advancement. Her commitment to policy framework development is anchored in human rights, best practices, social justice, and legal reform. Madam, you are most welcome, and we celebrate you today. Let's give her a round of applause. Commissioner General Dr. Se, as earlier on alluded to, we have got very important delegates in our midst. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, in our midst, we have got a man who is very passionate about the rehabilitation and the reformation of inmates. Not inmates alone, even us correctional officers. This man is at the apex of our organization, Zimbabwe Prisons and Correctional Service. This is none other than the Commissioner General of Zimbabwe Prisons and Correctional Service, Dr. Moses Cyril Ngawaite Chiovu. Also in attendance, we have Namibia Correctional Service Commissioner General Arati Amunyela, who is also the AXA Secretary and the Dean of Southern Africa Corrections, Prisons and Penitentiary Services. South Africa Department of Correctional Services, National Commissioner M.S. Tobakele. Please bear with me. You know, when you, like I said, when you're in uniform, you don't have to make any mistakes. But I'm failing to pronounce that. I will try it again, and I think the owner of the name will do justice. So we have South Africa Department of Correctional Services, National Commissioner M.S. Tobakele being represented by Deputy Commissioner Mtetwa Zodwa. Malawi Prison Service Commissioner, General Ms. G. Piri Wandika. Mauritius Penitentiary Service Commissioner being represented by Assistant Commissioner Ramdin. A round of applause. Angola Penitentiary Service Director General Mr. B. That one I totally failed, and I don't want to attempt. I might end up saying, maybe there's a machine in front of you, you can just say out your name, who will hear you. Thank you very much. Zambia Correctional Service Commissioner General Mr. S.S. Chilukutu, represented by Deputy Commissioner Auxilia Kading. The pronunciation was good. Thank you. Tanzania Prison Service Commissioner General J.Y. Katungu, being represented by Senior Assistant Commissioner Ms. Lai. The only name that I can pronounce there is Emmanuel. The other names, please forgive me. Can we hear the other names, Madam? Thank you, Madam. Botswana Prison Service Commissioner, represented by Deputy Commissioner General Mukwa. Thank you. Thank you very much. His Majesty's Correctional Service Commissioner P.N. Dlamini, Madame Dlamini. A round of applause, Madame Dlamini. Thank you very much. Mozambique Correctional Service Director General, represented by Deputy Commissioner J.M. Muziezai. Your name, say?
Manuel Muziezai.
I think a lot of people are sympathizing with me. Commander Zimbabwe Defense Forces, General E. Matatu, is represented by Brigadier General Mawoya. Or you will join us later. Thank you. We also have in our midst Commander Zimbabwe National Army, Lieutenant General W. Tapfumane is represented by, I think I don't know, do we have someone representing? Oh, it's me. Muzize. We have Lieutenant Colonel Muzize. Standing in for the Commander, Zimbabwe National Army. Thank you so much. Air Force of Zimbabwe, we have Air Marshal J. Nzede, is represented by Air Commodore M. Sakupanya. Zimbabwe Public Police, Commissioner General S. Mtamba, represented by Commissioner A. Moyo. Joining us later, thank you. Deputy Commissioner General, now this is, we have 4 Deputy Commissioner Generals in the Zimbabwe Prisons and Correctional Service. We have in our midst, Deputy Commissioner General responsible for operations, Deputy Commissioner General Shepard Mpofu. And he's also the chairperson of this noble event. Let's give him another round of applause. We also have in our midst today Deputy Commissioner General responsible for support services, Manetskwa Christine Manivi. In attendance today, we also have our Deputy Commissioner General responsible for production and business management, Deputy Commissioner General Sosho Ndanga. In absentia, we have Deputy Commissioner General responsible for corrections and infrastructure development, Dr. Granishia Msango. Let's give him a pam-pam. We have the General Manager, Uniformed Services, Mr. Eima Gomo. Mr. Eima Gomo. We also have various commissioners from the Prisons and Correctional Service Commission. Let's give them a round of applause. We have senior officers in our midst. We also have junior officers. We have various stakeholders that work with Zimbabwe Prisons and Correctional Service as we try to achieve successful reintegration of our inmates. We also have our band, and trust me, this band doesn't disappoint. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. In respect of our time, allow me to kindly ask our moderators to take to the podium and take us to the next level of our program. Madam, it's over to you. Please, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. A small interlude as Madam is preparing, a quick one.
Thank you very much. I was actually expecting more. Thank you very much, our Director of Ceremonies. Thank you first and foremost for that detailed introduction. Thank you very much. Our distinguished heads of corrections from across Africa, our speakers and panelists, Director of Ceremonies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's my honor and privilege to stand before you this morning to kickstart the first session of this inaugural Reintegration and Parole Conference. We begin the first part of our program this morning with a presentation from researchers. Indeed, Too often, justice systems, especially across Africa, have defaulted to using corrections as the single solution to people involved in the criminal justice system. Yet imprisonment cannot and does not rewrite histories. Imprisonment alone cannot heal communities or restore dignities. True change requires a system that combines accountability with compassion, a system that opens pathways for reformed individuals to re-enter society meaningfully, and that safeguards communities while giving hope to those who wish to turn their lives around. This is why a fair, transparent, well-managed parole system matters so deeply. But fairness and transparency are not abstract ideals. They rely on the input, on the experience and insight of a range of stakeholders, from researchers who analyze what works, to correctional authorities who implement policy, to civil society organizations who support reintegration, because as correctional institutions or services, we surely cannot do it alone. That's why we have asked representatives from SIRDC as well as from the RCZ to join us today. Their perspectives will help ground our discussion in both evidence and lived experience and show what a truly inclusive, effective parole system can look like. So it's my delight to introduce our first speaker, Professor Tawanda Mushiri from the Scientific and Industrial Research Development Center. Professor Mushiri is a Zimbabwean engineer and academic. He holds a B Science Honours degree in Mechanical Engineering, as well as an M Science in Manufacturing Systems and Operations Management, both from the University of Zimbabwe. He earned his PhD in Engineering from the University of Johannesburg and serves as a senior lecturer at the University of Zimbabwe. He is also a senior research associate at the University of Zimbabwe with research interests spanning artificial intelligence, robotics, biomedical engineering, automation, and machine maintenance. Beyond teaching and research, he has supervised many undergraduate as well as postgraduate students, published peer-reviewed journal articles and conference papers, and worked on applied engineering projects. Please, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Professor Mushiri.
I'm sure I will try to put it on the side. Yes. Dr. MC Chiovuse, all the senior officers who are here from Zimbabwe and outside the country, I really appreciate to be amongst you. My name is Professor Tawanda Mushiri. As Dr. Martin has introduced, today I'm going to talk about innovative digital systems for enhancing, if you can put the slides. So as I left UZ, I'm sure she just read up to UZ. As I left UZ last year, I went to Scientific and Industrial Research and Development Center, where I'm leading 12 institutes in terms of research and development. We are doing quite a lot of strides in terms of artificial intelligence as well as digital systems, so that as we move into the era of the 4th and the 5th industrial revolution, we are digitizing our systems. And I'm also happy to hear ZPCS also on the strides or on the movements to come up with the digitalization in terms of inmates and as well as all the systems that will help us to make the systems efficient. So I will try to, I don't know if you can hear me if I talk without a mic. Thank you so much, thank you. Because that mic was was putting me at the back. So everyone is now seeing me. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. I'm going to talk about innovative digital systems for enhancing transparency as well as accountability in the parole management system. So basically, when we talk about digitalization, we are moving from the data that we have. When we are seeing anything that we have in this world, that's natural. But when we put a sense of modernizing or inputting engineering on it, it becomes artificial intelligence. So we are moving from natural intelligence to make artificial intelligence. So the moment we talk about artificial intelligence is revolutionizing, and it has moved to what we call machine learning. From machine learning, data is our fundamental. That data is the data we can use in terms of the parole management system for the inmates to see their trends. What are they doing? That's what we call machine learning. So next slide. I hope it will work. Let me try again. Yes, thank you. So this is my presentation outline. I'll try to make it short, and also I'm not much good in terms of the parole, in terms of the inmates. Those are some of the words that I'm hearing. So I might be also working with you as we present so that we come up with a system at the end of the day. So basically, what is SEDIC? This is where I'm coming from. SEDIC is more like, for those in South Africa, it's more like CSIR. So SEDIC is more like the Zimbabwe Technology Center, that we do all the researches and feeding into the president's office. SEDIC was established by the government of Zimbabwe in 1993 under the provisions of the Research Act, carrying out strategic research and development R&D for the benefit of manufacturing, agricultural, mining, and safe sectors for Zimbabwe, collaborating with other local and international institutions and universities in strengthening local R&D capacity and its application to industrial processes. Number 3, promote technological partnerships and quality culture in business. And lastly, commercializing research projects as well as products and processes for the benefit of Zimbabwe and beyond, which is very critical. So what is our vision? To be the leading center for the development of Zimbabwe and the region through reduction to practice of technologically developed products and processes by 2030, and our mission is to provide Zimbabwe and the region with the technological solutions for sustainable development. This is our organogram. We report to the line minister, who is coming in the afternoon to officially opening the event. Honorable Vice President General Dad, Dr. C.G. Den Chwenga is our line minister. Whatever we do, we report to him. We also have board of directors and the CEO. I'm here, the ED Tech, Executive Director Technical. Basically, that's my work there. So these are the institutions that we work with. So we do a lot of work in terms of biotechnology, building technology, energy systems, environmental science, electronics and communications, food and biomedical technology, geoinformation and remote sensing, informatics institute, metallurgy, national metrology, polymer and material science, as well as the production. So those are in basic what we do, and we cover these sectors as we work in Zimbabwe and beyond. So basically, this is what we do. So my talk is based on this. When we talk about the parole management system, it's actually coming at a time where we are now moving to the 5th industrial revolution. So the first industrial revolution, we're talking about James Watt developing a steam engine. That was good that time, and we call it Industry 1.0, whereby everything was now mechanized. But as we move, after 120 years, we went to mass production, assembly line, electricity development. That's the time for Thomas Edison in the 1900s. Then from there came Charles Babbage with automation, 1 and 0, what is off, what is on. And the moment we do that, we were now under the computer and automation industry 3.0. But now there come a time where we are saying we have 1, we have a 0. Either someone is sleeping or not sleeping. Either someone is dead or not dead, or someone is not an inmate or an inmate. But before that, there is something that is between this and that. That's what we call fuzzy logic systems under artificial intelligence. So that's when we talk about cyber-physical systems. Between 1 and 0, is it just 1 and 0? But between 1 and 0, there is a lot of things that is happening there. That's what we call artificial intelligence, fuzzy logic systems. So before someone goes to jail, that basically means those are some of the issues that the ZRP works with. To say before he went in, we saw 1 or 2, or when he was in, he was doing 1 or 2. So that information that is in between, we use it using the cyber-physical systems. We are already in artificial intelligence. Then the high human cyber-physical systems, HCPS, we are now moving forward. The artificial intelligence started around 2000 to 2006. That's when we started to use this. But beyond that, we are now talking about the 5th industrial revolution, super artificial intelligence. But its fundamental is data. That is machine learning, which is very critical. So this is what we want to do. As we talk about our digitalization, as we talk about the parole management system, the key issue is to say, what do we want to digitize? Which information do we need? Is it random? Is it direct? Is it not direct? So you have to rethink about your model, build your strategy about the platforms, design for the customers. So the design for customers is the one that now comes for the inmates as you are designing a system. What information do you need to know that this person, as he is leaving the jail, going into the community work before being released, what can we do to manage that person? Raise your technological acumen, innovate rapidly and openly is very important. Learn more from your data. The data is now from the person. That's machine learning. What is happening? What can we do? How can we plan? Is very important. Adopt innovative financing models, focus on purpose, not on products, be trustworthy with data, put humanity before machines. So it's now critical that the people who are giving us the information of the inmates is the correct information. If we got the wrong information, basically means the model is going to be a wrong model. So the model will come from whatever is coming from the experts. We call them expert system. The people who work with inmates, they know what they are doing. They understand them day to day. We discuss with them, we sit down with them. What are they doing? What can they possibly do? What is wrong with them? They give what they think. In artificial intelligence is the first level of AI. That's what we call expert systems. So the moment you modernize that data from those expert systems, we put them in the system which is current with the current data. That basically means we are modernizing our systems. So the next thing is to define what is artificial intelligence. So the key thing is to say, this is our basic AI, but it's evolving. The speed of movement, you have seen that the movement from the first industrial revolution to the second was 120 years. But from the second to the third was 70 years. So you see the years are going down and down. From the 4th to the 5th, very less. Then from the 5th to the 6th, it might be 6 years. Because of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is accelerating everything. That's why you see China is moving very fast. South Korea is moving very fast. The idea is modernizing, taking the data that we have, and the systems learn on their own. Then you predict the future. That's what we call agentic AI systems. We are taking the brains of human beings, we put them in a machine. So basically artificial intelligence is making machines think like human beings. This is all our life is based on artificial intelligence. That's basically, that's in short. All our life is based on intelligence. But we normally work with the natural intelligence. The natural intelligence is the human being. We trust any human being. If you see any human being walking there, you say, this is a person. He's talking about 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to greet them in the morning, you say, Mangwanan. And if you say Mangwanan, you expect an answer, Tamuka Mamukao. The reason is you are expecting that person, he will answer back. So that's what we are doing the same with machines. Can those machines think like human beings? You want to say Mangwanani to a robot and the robot Tamuka Mamukao. That's what we want. We want to control everything using artificial intelligence. The human being is the chief machine, which is critical. Then the moment we modernize and make everything a machine, it basically means all our systems will be perfect. So it's critical for us to understand where is Zimbabwe now in terms of digitalization, in terms of the modern systems. In June 2025, we produced this under the Ministry of ICT, PCS, Ministry of ICT, Postal and Courier Services. What does that mean? That basically means Zimbabwe has now what we call the Artificial Intelligence Ethics Readiness Assessment Methodology. And we participated that as SEDIC to come up with this readiness assessment methodology. What does it do? It makes sure that everything that we do for Zimbabwe is the same. It basically means the parole management system that is used in Lesotho or in South Africa is not copy and paste to Zimbabwe. That's critical. So basically it comes to society or the culture. What do our people do? It's very important. So our artificial intelligence covers this, and we have a blueprint, we have a document. If you can download on Google to say Zimbabwe AI readiness assessment methodology, you can download and you see it there. So that was me there. I think you can see me. I was sitting here, yes, and we were now launching the AI ethics readiness assessment. That was the permanent secretary for the Ministry of ICT, Postal and Courier Services. That's when we finished this readiness assessment methodology. What does it entail? We are now ready to come up with an artificial intelligence strategy, but we come from this. We start with the society. How can our people benefit? How can our people use this? It's not a copy and paste AI strategy of Britain, AI strategy of America to put it in Zimbabwe. So that's what we do. So we talk about the legal issues. It's very important. The society, the scientific and educational, the economic, as well as the infrastructure. What do we need? It now comes back to our system that we want to develop, the system that we want to monitor. How can we come up with this? It's more like a computerized maintenance management system. What kind of data do you need? There is need for infrastructure. What is needed to be on the inmate? What is needed to be on the person who monitor? What is required and why do you need it? All those things will come to this. Then from this, that's where we went to the Zimbabwe National Artificial Intelligence Strategy. I'm sure you have heard it on news that it was approved, but we are just waiting for the document. We also participated in this. These are the pillars for our Zimbabwe National Artificial Intelligence Strategy. And already it has been approved. We are just waiting for our president to get a date and launch this artificial intelligence strategy. That basically means it becomes a fundamental document for Zimbabwe to modernize every system using artificial intelligence. Talent, capacity development. The good thing is ZPSCS have got a lot of people. And those people are talented. They understand quite a lot about the inmates and whatever. Those people can develop the system. That basically means if there is no one, the system can control those people, which is very important. AI infrastructure and computation also is very important. We need to have our own data. We need to have our own storage system that we store our data for Zimbabwe, which is critical. We need to store it locally so that we use it for prediction, because that data that we get is not just going to be stored anyhow, but it's going to be stored for the purpose of predictive purposes. If this person is doing this, basically means tomorrow he can do this. That's very important. The people who do psychology, I'm sure they can predict that this person, I'm sure the way he's doing behavioral sciences, he may actually hit me. So let me go back. So it's an expert system. So AI adoption and service transformation, AI governance, ethics and regular. So the AI adoption and service transformation is now basically to say, whatever we have in Zimbabwe, can we modernize it? Can we use artificial intelligence? And in Zimbabwe, I'm happy to tell you that it's the 17th country in Africa to have artificial intelligence strategy, which is a good move for us as Zimbabwe. So then the AI research, development and innovation is also critical and very important for us to know that whatever we have, we don't sleep. I think Ascom here, she was talking about not sleeping. We continuously need to modernize our data. We continuously need to have a real-time system to capture the data. We don't want to say we have the data already, we forget. No, the data comes on a daily basis. And it's the same data that we use for prediction. So it's very important. And the research is critical. We continuously do research. We continuously do R&D, and we continuously innovate. It's very important. What we talk about is we have our data here. From the data, if data is just like that, does not mean anything, right? This is an inmate, he is black, he is tall, he has got white eyes and whatever. What does that help us? Then there's what we call informatization. We take that data, we put it to use, it becomes information. If we know that that person like this, he had done this, he has broken this, he has raped this, he has done this, this now become information. The moment we come up with a parole management system and we make it intelligent, we are now into the intelligentization era. So we are moving from data, then we go to information, then we go to what we call intelligentization. That's what we are now doing when you talk about this system. And if it is done in a CMMS mode or better than that, it becomes a powerful tool. AI, international collaboration, and the diplomacy, I think it works to you mostly for the people who are in security as well. You really help on that. Then from there, why does this matter? It's very important. Why do we need to digitalize our data? Why do we need to talk about these things? Number one, Vision 2030. That's what we want. We want to monitor all those things. That's very critical. What can those people do? So the idea is to say, when that person is in the jail, just take that person as someone who can help Zimbabwe to grow. Don't take him as a person who is very bad, who has killed. That's okay. How can we rehabilitate that person using our data that we have? And what is his previous history? Can he go back to that and come up to help in the Vision 2030 and grow? So those are some of things to say he can go back, he may not go back, or he will not go back. That's okay. But the information should come from predictions. Why do we need to digitalize? NDS2, it has been launched last week, and it's very important for us to know that all those 10 pillars that we are talking about in NDS2, they are very critical. If we also modernize, those things will move fast. And the Smart Zimbabwe is part of modernizing, digitalizing the ZPCS. It's very important. Emphasize digital infrastructure, inclusion, and innovation. So these are some of the smart things. So the moment you talk about smart, we are now talking about digitalizing. We are now talking about those people. We are now talking about energy being available. We are now talking about the internet being available. Those things will work hand in glove. We are now in the smart era. These are the initiatives that Zimbabwe is doing for digitalization and modernization, which is quite critical. So the parole system, I'm sure I don't need to define it, you know it. You are the experts, you can teach me on these things. But at the end of the day, what is critical is these people to complete their sentence in the community under strict conditions and supervision, which is critical. To say when they are doing this, what can they do? And it's very important. To me, my message is to say, these people, are they useful? And useful to what extent? When they work in the community, what are they doing? Are they destroying? Are they helping? How can we make use of these people in terms of artificial intelligence, in just wild thinking? How can we modernize those people? We don't take them as people who are cruel to the nation. We take them as people who can be rehabilitated to a better state, but we have to do it with the data. It's very important. So that's critical for us. And the parole balances justice, number one. It also balances rehabilitation as well as public safety. It's very important as well. Then from there, these are just the numbers that I got from the Q4 2024. They may not be correct, but I got them to say, if we got this, we can use them for prediction because we use data. So if these are the people, what does that mean? And when can we get something like this for next year? What can we get for 2028? What can we do? So these are some of the information that I thought we can also share. But the critical part, digital pillars, this is very critical. Number one, artificial intelligence risk assessment. It now needs to be done for each and every of those people who are about to go into the community and they want to do work before they are being released. What is the risk of those people? We can calculate the risk of each and every one on them using that 4x4 matrix to say this one is dangerous, this one is not dangerous, this one needs to go back. So all those things, they are done. Then we can actually come up with the blockchain records is very important as well. Digital identity as well as biometrics is very important to understand these people. Digitalization, the data on these people. If we see these people, what does that mean? To me, I was presenting at Potras in September in Masvingo, and I was saying, when you see anyone going into a building for the government, there is no more need to continue to write Tawanda Mshiri, mail, 077 59075, my ID. Those things are okay, but they can be done in a digital way. To say you just scan yourself, you enter. All the information is there. It can be done as well for the inmates. Then you have their details. Who is this person? This data can be used in the health sector. This person is not feeling well. That basically means needs 1, 2, 3, 4. This person, his mind, according to the random systems of artificial intelligence, machine learning, this basically means this person is thinking back to rape again. And this person is want to kill again. So can he stay there? So using the Monte Carlo systems. It's very important for us to understand those systems. These are some of the projects we have done at SIRDC. We have developed a surveillance drone, and this drone uses machine learning, and this machine learning is able to detect diseases in the fields. We have also done crop masking and mapping, whereby we are able to tell that in Chiredzi, we have so many wheat, we have so many crops, we have so many animals, and these animals, they are more like this. So it goes from masking to mapping using what we call deep learning TensorFlow. Disease modeling is very important. This can be used to anyone, and the inmates can benefit as well. Geodatabase in terms of location, parallelized computing systems, these are very critical as we go into this. We have the Zimbabwe Center for High Performance Computing. That information that we have for the inmates, if we put it there, then we model it. There are some parameters that we need to hear from psychologists. There are some parameters we need to hear from people who stay with the people. We sit down with them, we capture that information, then we use the 80-20 rule for modeling. Then digitalization of systems. I'm happy also to tell you that you have seen the budget last week, and you have seen Professor Mtuli talking about digitalization of the Blue Book. We are happy that we managed to work with the Minister of Finance and created a digital Blue Book. So this year we now have a digital Blue Book, and next year the minister is going to use that digitalized system to present the budget. Then the large language model. So from now, 2026 to 2030 is a time of modeling, and it's a time of making models. Those models are very important for us to be able to come into the artificial intelligence zone, which is quite clear. These are the tools that I wanted. Okay, thank you. Okay, so these are the tools that can be used. So we may need cameras, we may need wearables, we may need sensors, we may need data. So those are some of things that are required. And the moment we get that information, we can predict for those people, what can they do? To me, I would love a situation whereby you say out of 100 of the people who are in the parole, and you say, we managed to recover so many, and they are now useful for this. We did not recommend this one to go back because of the system like this. We recommend this because the systems will be doing this. So those are what we call the large language models. Because these cameras can actually work and see these people. It's more like the psychiatry in the hospital. The doctor, when he's going to treat a psychiatrist, a patient, someone who is having some psychiatric issues. So when they are going to treat them, they need to be careful as well, because they don't even know what is happening. It's more like a live for electricity. You don't even know whether there is electricity or no. So you need to be very careful. So it's the same system that can actually happen with this, because they can come up with different images. Then we use those images under what we call support vector machine, supervised machine learning, to predict that this person has now reformed. This person, and you can also see that maybe in future you may say, I don't think this person may need to go for community service. Right from here needs to go home, because of the systems that may now be in place. We talk about infrastructure as part of our component of artificial intelligence under the 5 pillars, to say, can we see these people, even as they are going into the jail, as raw as like that, can we start the process? As they are healing, we have those. I'm sure some other countries may be using these systems, but to me, I'll be very happy if we can have such a system, and this system will help even for the Commissioner General at home to see all the correctional services in Zimbabwe, to say this is good. I think this one has moved, this one is improving, this one. So it's very important. Using the dashboards is very critical as well. Then from there, impact, reduce the corruption, it helps. That someone will say, I think this one is now okay, yeah, it needs to go back. But I said, but the system is saying it's not yet okay. So maybe he was given money by someone, yes. It's very critical. I've heard so many times on the news to say, please don't temper around that person. He's still with us. Don't tell that person that he will go home, or because he has been given some money. So all those things, the corruption will go, because this system is real time and everyone will see it. Then improved trust is very important as well, because whatever you see, you trust that system. And better reintegration is very important as well. Safer communities, and it's also critical because you now have someone that is coming from that side. Is very. Then you have those records that this person is going to the system, back into the system. But wherever that person goes, the system is also like that. It's more like black email or blacklisted. You now know that this person has been there, but that information goes to as information that is kept confidentiality, in a confidentiality manner, not for everyone, just to talk about it. So the community becomes safe, because when you release someone, you really feel that that person is now a changed person. And we have seen with this track record using neural networks or deep learning or the machine learning, that this person has really changed. Then call to action, adopt digital parole system, which is critical. So to me, I would say, let's adopt it, let's do it. I've just put it on a skeleton basis so that maybe you understand where I'm coming from, where I'm going, but more data is required for us to digitalize the system. But I'm saying it's possible. The system can be digitalized. Pilot at a national level is very important. You can start with one of the correctional services, maybe in Chinoi or whatever, then you use that one. Policy and funding mobilization is critical. You do it in a stage by stage, not like just doing it for the whole country. It will not be good. It's done one step at a time, and it's very critical for all of us to do that. Thank you very much. That's my last slide.
And accountability in parole management. Thank you, sir. Indeed, an effective parole system is reliant on data for proper analysis of risk. And I'm sure we're all excited to learn about what type of data would be required for a well-managed parole system to ensure that the Zimbabwe parole system becomes one that is transparent, one that is accountable, and one that is evidence-based. However, for now, please allow me to introduce our second speaker. Next up, we have from the Research Council of Zimbabwe, Dr. Partsan Chikudza. Dr. Chikudza is the Executive Director of the Research Council of Zimbabwe. Under his leadership, the Research Council coordinates national research efforts, advising the Zimbabwean government on research priorities, and facilitating collaborations between academia, industry, as well as public institutions. Dr. Chikudza holds a PhD in Social Sciences, Development Studies. He also has a master's degree in Development Studies, a bachelor's degree in Public Administration and Development Studies, amongst other qualifications. Before joining the Research Council of Zimbabwe, he served in senior public service roles, including as a director in the Office of the President and Cabinet in the Chief of Secretary's Office, and has over 30 years of senior level experience in the Ministry of Education and Public Service Commission. Under his tenure, the Research Council of Zimbabwe has engaged in major national and international research initiatives. On the 22nd of November last year, Dr. Chikudza received an award of Outstanding Zimbabwe's Top CEO of the Year 2024 by the Zimbabwe CEOs Network. The Platinum Award was a mark of excellence, a record breaker, and testament to his outstanding leadership and invaluable contributions he has made. I think he deserves a round of applause. Dr. Chikuta, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Allow me to write on the protocols already observed, but allow me to start by thanking the moderator and also by quoting from the Bible about someone indicated on Genesis chapter 5 and verse about someone called Methuselah. Genesis chapter 5, verse 21 to 25. There is Methuselah. This is a biblical patriarch and known for living to 969 years. Yeah. The longest lifespan of any person in the Bible. He was the son of Enoch, the father of Lamech, and the great-grandfather of Noah. For those who read the Bible, this is a life quite long, a life attributed by longevity, but no impact. So allow me to applaud the management of ZPCS for having impact through this very conference. A round of applause to them. I think you are ably led. I thank you very much for this, and also for allowing the Research Council of Zimbabwe to be part of this gathering. So the Research Council of Zimbabwe, as we have already seen, was established in 1986 under Chapter 10.22 through an Act of Parliament, and it then birthed SEDIC, and we are proud of the professor who was here. It's through what the Research Council of Zimbabwe did. Not only SEDIC, but ZINSA, AC, Zimbabwe Agricultural Research Council, and others. So we believe through this engagement, we should be able to establish something related to ZPCS, working together, leaving no one and no place behind in terms of research. So I think ZPCS already have a research unit, and it is high time we either come to you or you come to us so that we move together like the Liverpool supporters. No one should move alone. So we are under the office of the President and Cabinet as well, and our focus, as you can see, is national regulation, coordination, and promotion of research, not only for ZPCS, but for all universities, all research institutions, all research institutes. We deal with them. We coordinate research activities. As I've alluded to, we advise government on service delivery, technology, and AI. Like Professor Bushir was saying, artificial intelligence, you cannot move away from that. May I frighten you a bit? As long as you have got this gadget, AI will know who is sitting close to you. But not now, but in future. When we seriously implement it, we will know who you are sitting with. It will be able, we will be able to trace it. So the parole system, when implemented under AI, we will be able to have that traceability accuracy. So it has come at the right time. Thank you, Professor Bushiri. We also advise, or we also promote research aligned with national priorities. We develop national research policies and guidelines. I may also take this opportunity to indicate to ZPCS that on 16 December, before we go for Christmas, we are going to have a validation workshop. So, for national priority areas. So, you are invited to attend to this, so that you also give us your national priorities, so that we'll be able to trace them, to follow up on them. We facilitate collaboration. We collaborate with various local and international research. In South Africa, do we have South Africans here? We have got the NRF, National Research Foundation of South Africa. We are working very closely with them, and we're about to enter into an MOU with them. So if you don't have an MOU with our with the ZPCS, it's right time also have one. Just like we are going to have an MOU with our sister country in South Africa. Namibia, we already have one, and it's being implemented. And just 2 weeks ago, all global research entities were in Blawayo, where we were coordinating a global research council initiative for South Sahara. All countries south of the Sahara were in Zimbabwe. But we did not limit ourselves to those. We also had others from Europe, from Asia, and so forth. So we also monitor research projects. There are research projects which can be life-threatening. So we actually see which one adds value to Zimbabweans. So Zimbabwe has made significant legislative reforms through Prison and Correctional Service Act 2023. We applaud you for that. And one major reform is the reestablishment of the structural parole system. I think this is the nerve center of life of the prisoners. Inside, out here, whilst you may cry and say things are not moving well, but when you get there, you see the world is almost closed. So the introduction of this is going to actually help and go a long way. The reform aligns corrections management with human rights, best approaches, rehabilitation and integration priorities, national development and security objectives. Of course, we cannot overemphasize on these ones. So the challenges, current correctional system constraints prisons, prison overcrowding and congestion. You know, at one point, been there to preach and to accompany my priest. Yeah, it's not that was to be there. There is a cost of incarceration. There's limited integration pathways for offenders. Of course, some are coming back with certain skills acquired, but yeah, the risk of offending due to weak transitional support. So we have the strategic imperative, like shift from punitive containment to rehabilitative and correctional services. Yes, someone has done wrong, The mic. Oh. My apologies. I thought I was having one somewhere here. So, okay, so that's fine. So, the parole issue has been defined quite well, but let me also hasten to say parole is the conditional release of eligible offenders before completion of a sentence. Not everyone can be eligible, but there's a certain criteria in terms of releasing them, and the offenders serve the remainder of their sentence or part of their sentence under supervision somewhere in the community, and it balances with public safety, accountability, rehabilitation, and social integration. Of course, this is very key. You were once known for something, but when you come back, you are known for better and welcome things. So it also serves to decongest the prisons by safely managing offender populations. You know, there are times when people are in numbers there, so improve rehabilitation outcomes through gradual reintegration, reduce role via structured supervision and support. Yes, there is need for supportive structures in place, and this also calls for a budget, of course. It cannot just be support, it can also be moral support, financial support, and so on. Optimize public expenditure on corrections, yes. For instance, socially, for instance, health-wise, one can get that from his or her own home. Also promote human dignity and social integration. These are not debatable, these are clear issues. So parole contributes to decongestion by reducing inmate populations without compromising security. In terms of AI, who, if it develops quite well, will be able to know where these offenders can be located. And also allowing correctional facilities to focus on high-risk offenders, specialized rehabilitation programs, and creating space for improved living conditions and service delivery. When they come to the community, they don't just come with the skills that they went to the prison with, but with improved skills. So a well-designed parole system ensures the following. This is now part of the programming of a parole system which is well-programmed, structured supervision by correctional and social service systems. So what does it mean? It means additional staff, additional human capital in this regard. So it's areas of focus, skills, training, improved pathways, psychological support, like I've indicated earlier on, is critical, and strong monitoring mechanisms to protect public safety. Because there are certain people who have got a tendency of keeping on doing wrong things. I will tell you of an analogy whereby the scorpion and the frog decided to cross over a certain river, and they agreed, of course, but on conditions that the scorpion would not bite the frog. But midway, you know, the scorpion, it stung the frog. Then the frog was now saying, my colleague, why are you now stinging me? And he said, I'm used to this. So there are certain offenders who are used to repeating same things. So in the end, they both drowned. So we want to reestablishing parole support through national strategic plans for justice, security, and social development. As we enter into Vision NDS2, which is 30 days away, was already, this day is already gone. What are we saying? NDS2, 30 days away. How long is it going to be? NDS2. If you start counting, how many years? 2026. We start counting from at the end of 2026. So 2026, 2027, 28, 29, 30. So it's not a long way. It's only about 4 years. So we need to be aware of the need to plan effectively for the implementation, which requires data-driven assessment tools, continuous monitoring and evaluation, applied research. Yes, when we want to research, this is where you come to the Research Council of Zimbabwe, and we are all yours. Either for you to come to us or for us to come to you. After all, we are one government. And okay, the need is for national research coordination, structures such as established under the Research Act, under a framework of supporting evidence-based. We don't just do it for the sake of doing it, but for the sake of results-based management, IRBM. So we successfully parole implementation depends on a number of issues. Zimbabwe, ZPCS, Correctional Services, Ministry of Justice, responsible, and Home Affairs, Social Services, and others, including the academia and research institutions. Okay, so expected outcomes. Even this one, David, when he was about to go for war, he said, what am I going to be given? You know better what he was promised. So, can I promise you to come up with tangible outcomes as you plan for this particular issue? Reduced prison overcrowding, improved rehabilitation and reintegration services, safer communities, better use of public resources, stronger adjustment between law, alignment between law, policy, and strategic planning. These are critical. These are very pertinent. So, way forward. What's the next step? Operationalize the parole structures and guidelines. Build institutional and human capacity. It's not an easy walk in the park. Integrate parole targets into institutional strategic plans. Strengthen M&E and research support. Sustain public confidence through transparency and accountability. People should not question your next steps or your implementation process. They should take it with the good will. So in conclusion, the re-establishment of Zimbabwe's parole system under the Prisons and Correctional Service Act of 2023 marks a significant shift or pivot towards rehabilitation or driven corrections, supporting prison decongestion and social integration and national development as we move towards the Vision 2030 of an empowered and upper middle society. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you to Dr. Chikudza. And I think the call is clear. Either the ZPCS goes to the Research Council or the Research Council will go to the ZPCS. And I think the first step has already been taken, which is why we're here today. So we're very delighted to have had you in our midst, Doctor. It's now time for us to move on to the next segment of our program. We have about 30 minutes to interrogate the presentations this morning. I urge you all to engage actively. Let us ask the kind of questions that will help us deepen our understanding and come up with collective actionable solutions. I just want to remind us all again that we do have translation services available. I believe Channel 1 for English, Channel 2 for French, and Channel 3 for Portuguese. Let us please raise our hands to indicate any comments, contributions, or questions that we might have. And as I've said, this is our conference. We want everybody to contribute meaningfully. So let us please take up the opportunity. We have about 30 minutes to do so. Do we have any questions, contributions? Yes, sir, there's a hand to the far back. Do we have any mics circulating maybe? Oh, no, we don't actually need the mics. We can use the ones on our desks.
Thank you so much for the detailed presentation from the two presenters. My question basically goes to the first presenter, Dr. Mashiri. I'm a bit worried about the use of artificial intelligence. You seem to be praising it so much. My worry is on relying on it solely, bearing in mind the issue of algorithmic issues there, because there may be some collaboration there in the algorithms, because you are using artificial intelligence. And then at the end of the day, we may end up having legitimate or deserving inmates not being granted the chance of parole, because there is evidence of algorithmic collaboration if you go into other spheres, particularly in the business field. So my question there is, how best now can we go about it if we were to infuse this issue of artificial intelligence, particularly in the parole system, because there is that aspect of algorithmic collaboration, which I feel it may affect deserving inmates. I feel maybe we can rely on it, particularly on other aspects, not particularly on it determining the behavior or predicting that a certain inmate will re-offend. I think they will prejudice deserving inmates there. Maybe we can use it basically to track where they are and what they are doing, not solely to determine the future behavior, because machines can collaborate and to the detriment of others. So maybe if we were to formulate a policy there, we want to agree that maybe in the certain issues, we may not solely rely on artificial intelligence. I don't know whether the doc will agree with me there, or you may want to clarify there. Thank you so much. I submit.
Thank you very much. A valid question indeed. Doctor, while giving you a moment to reflect, I think we will take another round of questions or contributions, if there are any. Okay, maybe while we're still getting our minds to digest, Doctor, if you can please respond to that question.
Okay. Hello. Thank you so much for the question. I really appreciate. I think that's the worry that everyone is saying. But at the end of the day, artificial intelligence is part of us now. When we say artificial intelligence, we are worried about it. It's more like I'm worried about my ear. I'm worried about my hand, because artificial intelligence is no longer the future, it's part of us. And artificial intelligence, basically, it works with data. And the data is anything that that comes from us. So the moment we give correct information, that correct information is used by artificial intelligence for prediction. So under machine learning, there is what we call KNN. So the KNN, it uses a lot of data, and it predicts that if there are 4 people who are around, and it also picks the 50% closer, it can tell that this 50% is a thief or no. So what we have done is, we have done quite a lot of experiments, and we have realized that it's very correct. So at the end of the day, where we are now, as we move, artificial intelligence to me is the best accelerator. It's more like using a phone. Everyone wants a phone. It's more like using Microsoft Office for our laptops. We all need that. So AI is just a tool that is used to leverage and accelerate the way we do it. So it increases productivity and it improves decision making. So what we basically need, and what I have said before, is we are now in the era of agentic AI, where we are talking the brains of a human being. We place them on a machine. So the decision that is coming from that person is no longer like me talking. It's more like, so when you see me talking, it's a replica of someone. So when we talk about that, we could have actually done a replica of Isaac Newton, a replica of Karl Marx, so that those people, when they say or when they talk, the same years back, the long years that they lived, we could see that they are still there. So you can actually move technology to that extent. So we don't need to get worried, because those machines are using human beings' mind to make decisions. So it's no longer that machine talking. It's more like the expert or the senior ZPCS operator who is saying that thing. It's no longer the robot. It's now that thing. And there's also the element of job enhancement. So we no need to get worried to say we are going to lose jobs and whatever. Our jobs are enhanced. Our jobs are going to be easier and straightforward. Instead of fighting with those people, some people are having serious problems with those people when they are sending them to jail or keeping them in jail. They fight with them. But now if you put a robot that basically monitors those people, to me, you will be very happy. And by the way, a robot is a multifunctional device that performs a variety of tasks that is part. So a robot is under artificial intelligence. So we can put a robot to make a decision for you, and that robot will use AI system. So at the end of the day, we don't need to get worried. The robots are using brains of human beings, just taking the brains that you have. You can touch your head now, take your head, put it on the machine. If that machine speaks, it's you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the feedback. I think the concern that exists really is, to what extent can humans be replaced, the human factor be replaced by a machine? Are we talking about enhancing, or are we talking about replacement? And if we're talking about data collection by machines, to what extent do we want to solely rely on machines to make data, missing out on nuances that can be picked up by a human being, for example? And also, what kind of data are we talking about? So I think these are discussions that we can still have during the course of the week. Thank you very much, Professor. Do we have any more questions or contributions? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. My question goes to the first presenter. Mine is, I'll start with a comment that is on the protocols on security. I don't know how this system is really safe, especially when it comes to being protected from being hacked or manipulated. And I also don't know who really accesses this information. Can researchers use it, or it's only to the correctional, penitentiary, or the prison service? That is my first comment. The next one is I'm looking at the aspect of reintegration. The parole system is very vital in ensuring that the ex-inmate is well reintegrated into the community. Now, I'm looking at this system to say, how does it take care of the aspect of the victim, the community? I know it's so much, it's talking about the prisoner themselves or the inmates themselves, but how does it take care of the aspect of the victim as well as the community? Because these are very key players when it comes to the aspect of reintegration. Thank you.
Professor Mushiri, I believe both questions are directed at you.
Thank you so much. So for the first question, thank you, ma'am. For the first question is talking about are we safe? So the issue now goes to the issue of cybersecurity systems. The moment we have that data, we need to secure it. We need to make sure that that data that we have, it goes to place A and B, and no one can look into that data. That's our data. In Zimbabwe, we have what we call the Zimbabwe Center for High Performance Computing. And that center keeps all the data. And the moment we have that data, it basically means that that data is for the purpose it is supposed to be used for. And no one can watch that same data. So it's like selecting or isolating that this person cannot see it. It's more like a system that we grant the authority maybe to the president and maybe the vice president, maybe and the ministers. So it's more like in levels, who sees what. So that's very important as we talk about. So the information is basically rely on large language model. And on the large language model, these are the models that are at ZCHPC, and the moment they are made, they now read around that information and make a decision using the environment that they are getting. The second question was talking about the reintegration as well as the victim. So the victim, the one who has been affected, this person is there, we are talking about the rehabilitation, the one who did the thing, then the other person who has been affected. So it's now to say that person who has been affected, what are the current issues, because we now get with the decision that we have made. But for that person, we now need to say, what can we do to him? But there are some things that may not be corrected, but there are some things that can be corrected. But at the end of the day, it may be getting information to make decisions in the future. But now what is required is like in China. When you are moving in China, no one, even if you drop $1,000 US, no one will pick it. Why? Because the systems are intelligent. If you pick it at the nearest place that you go, or sorry, say, thank you very much. We saw you picked money somewhere there. That money belongs to this person. He dropped that money yesterday. We saw it being dropped there. So can you give us that money? Thank you. We need to give that person. So it's very important. So it gives us that model of protecting the future. Of course, the victim, we have our own ways of saying, let's be sympathetic on them, let's help them. But there are things that may not be reversed. But at the end of the day, we can protect the other people, learning now from the data that we got on how this person affected that person. We use that information to predict so that that thing will not happen again. But I think the system now goes to security. It's very important for us to make sure that our security is very much solid and is watertight, so that no one is just going to do anything anyhow. So I think that's how I can answer that question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. Indeed, when we talk about data collection, there is no way we can shy away from issues pertaining to privacy, consent, and ethics. So it's really an important discussion that we're having at the moment. And as far as victims are concerned, when we are talking about data collection or proper analysis of risk. We also have to think about the fact that such information that we're gathering has to be comprehensive. So we're talking about the involvement of information from various stakeholders, be it the police, be it the judiciary, and we're talking about stakeholders such as the victims themselves. So it's really very insightful discussions that we're having at the moment. Thank you very much. I believe we had another hand from the front, if it's sorted. Okay, then we'll move to the back, please.
My question goes to the first presenter. Let me begin by saying what a brilliant presentation, well elaborated. However, I'm afraid of the issue of biasness and fairness as far as data is concerned. From the presentation, my understanding is that artificial intelligence will depend on the data fed. What it means is that if the data fed is biased, the interpretation again will be biased, which will affect the parole. My question is there any way that the system can actually detect the biasness of the data? Thank you.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you very much for that. I think this, I will answer it in terms of expert systems. For us to be able to enter this information into the system, we need to understand that the information is correct. But the expert system comes from our people, the people who work with those inmates, the people who work with those people who are going into the parole phase. So those people are the ones who approve that this is the information that we got, and this is the information that we want it to be entered into the system. That becomes the information, the limits, the lower limit, the average, the upper limit. Then we program our system. But the issue is to say the data should be coming from those. For example, we did a research with the Ministry of Health. We were working on a system to detect mothers, what we call the antenatal mothers, the pregnant mothers, to detect are they going to have risks in giving birth again. So what we did, we worked with the nurses, because nurses are the ones who work with those mothers and those sisters, the midwives. We worked with them, they collected data, they put that data, and we used that data. We worked with the MCAS, and the moment we got data from the midwives, the people who work with the antenatal mothers, we trusted the system that is correct. Then as we entered our system, that was now to say the minimum was this, the maximum was that. So we are going to have information coming from this to there. But it should come from the people who work with those people so that we come up with a correct system. But at the end of the day, we don't need to neglect people who knows what kind of information do we want. We work with them as we make our models. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Mushiri. I'd like to put Dr. Chikudza on the spot as well, just for a moment. Professor, your presentation was on reimagining Zimbabwe's parole system, and you've also touched on the issues of context. So in your view, in the context of Zimbabwe, what are the challenges that you are foreseeing that might hinder the effective adoption of an effective parole system?
Thank you very much for considering me. Yes, indeed. So as you listened to my presentation, I think I alluded to, there's a slide that I shared with you on the challenges that are anticipated in this. Of course, firstly, there should be a real engagement with the various stakeholders. Like I indicated when I was presenting that slide, it's not a walk in the path, in the park. is something which needs to be critically looked into with a view of making impact and not to come up with the wrong decisions which will affect the community. It calls for alignment so that there are no litigations. It also calls for harmony with the would-be beneficiaries of the parole system and the community, because more often than not, people who then come back to criticize a good intention. So there's need to plan. Proper planning prevents poor performance, and it should be done appropriately, step by step. Thank you.
And if I recall correctly, you've also spoken about piloting, starting off small and then gradually increasing. Thank you very much. I think we might have time for one or two more interventions, if there are any. Yes? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Allow me to mention my name because it's related to what I'm going to talk about. I am Commissioner George Swanda. My issue touches on the eligible offenders and mechanisms to protect public safety. What am I saying? 30 years ago, I was in the lower ranks of the ZPCS and I was working in the reception. We admitted an inmate by the name John Piri. 6 months down the line, his sentence expired. He came back. He was now George Swanda. And he appeared to be a first offender. I am looking at this parole system. Without digitization, it might not be successful. That's my contribution. Thank you very much.
Indeed. Indeed. Yes, sir. The floor is yours. Okay. Indeed, without digitalization, we can end up missing people. We're just human beings. There is no way that you're going to know all the offenders that have been in your system. And that is why we're talking about proper data management. But proper data management compels us to move from what we are used to doing on a day-to-day basis. We cannot rely on just paper anymore. For a proper parole system, we need to have a proper electronic offender management system. I think that is the basis of it all. So I think you've just reminded us that there are a number of things that we have to make sure that are in place. We're talking about infrastructure to really ensure that we have an effective parole system in Zimbabwe. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have now come to the end of the first part of our program. I thank, of course, our distinguished speakers for their thoughtful reflections. I also want to thank everybody who has contributed through their questions and insights during this discussion. And this was just a taste of what we're expecting for the rest of this conference. We really want meaningful engagements. So with that, I hand over to our Director of Ceremonies just to guide us further in terms of our program. Thank you very much.
A round of applause to our moderator, Deputy Commissioner General, Madam Martin. Another resounding round of applause. Commissioner General Dr. Say, as we progress with our program, allow me to introduce some very important delegates in our midst. Ladies and gentlemen, in our midst, we have Mr. Lloyd Chilundika. Mr. Lloyd Chilundika is the chairperson of National Parole Board in Zambia and is also a former Deputy Commissioner General of Zambia Correctional Service. And we also have officers commanding. As Zimbabwe Prisons and Correctional Service, we have 10 provinces. And in attendance today, we have officers commanding our 10 provinces. You want to see them? Thank you. It's not coming from me, it's coming from our visitors. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Those are our 10 officers commanding our 10 provinces. Thank you very much. As we digest AI, I would like to advise our visitors. We have a local wine called Mapfura. You need to test that. You thank me later. It has got a clean finish. To those who have tasted it, they are already agreeing with what I'm saying. It will make us get closer to appreciating and embracing AI. I think so. As we wait for our protocol team there to be ready, ZPCS band, please, just a small piece.
We're still coming to you live from Rainbow Towers, right here in the capital city, Harare. And the event is the Zimbabwe Prisons and Correctional Service Parole and Reintegration Conference. And we have had quite insightful presentations, one coming from Professor Mushiri, who is Professor, thank you for coming.
Thank you, sir.
We just want you to give us an insight from your presentation how artificial intelligence can actually be implemented in the parole system.
Thank you so much. So basically, artificial intelligence is making machines think like human beings. And when we talk about artificial intelligence, it's evolving on a daily basis. And it moved to machine learning, whereby data is the fundamental of making decisions. And with that data, we can make information or informed decisions. Then from that informed decision, we can go to intelligence. So for the parole management system that I've just presented here, it will be easy to be managed using artificial intelligence. But basically what we want is the data should be correct, and the data should be taken from the people who work with those inmates, because they will give you the correct information. If that data is not given correctly, it will be garbage in, garbage out. The information must be thoroughly analyzed and made sure that it's correct. The moment we get that information, we predict it. So the moment we predict, we make informed decision. that this person, as he now is moving under the parole system, is he going well into the community, or we need to send him back? So it's very important and it's very necessary. And artificial intelligence, we just do that very well. I will give an example. If someone has come to jail and was given a name called John Sibanda, that person can go out and later on come back with a new name called George Sibanda. And we'll say this is the first time this person is coming to prison. But with artificial intelligence, it will store that data, it will store that information. And as we do our parole management system, it will make sure that the information is correct, and whatever we want, we can make informed decision because it's a correct using artificial intelligence. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor. But what are the major fears, I mean, judging from the feedback from the delegates,
Yes, yes.
what are the major fears in using artificial intelligence in as far as implementing the parole system is concerned?
Yeah. The major fears that I got from people is, number one, people doubt the data. Is it going to be the correct data? But that one can actually be helped by coming up with the expert systems that basically confirms that the data that we are having is correct information. People are worried that if you put wrong information, we will make wrong decisions, or otherwise releasing a wrong person, and that will make confusion quite a lot. And also the issue of job displacement. Artificial intelligence is not going to remove any job from anyone, but is going to enhance jobs for everyone. So artificial intelligence is just a tool that we are going to use to accelerate our technologies, to accelerate our production, and it improves efficiency as well as accuracy. You can see that all our correctional services will be managed by that parole management system. It will give these people who work with this so that they are a bit safer as well, because the decisions are done by these intelligent systems. Thank you.
And Professor, do you think that at the stage in which we are right now in Zimbabwe, do you think we are now ready to use artificial intelligence in these systems?
Yes, we are very much ready to use artificial intelligence, considering that last week you have heard the president launching NDS2, and that basically means we are accelerating whatever we are doing. And those 10 pillars that the president read, that basically means we are in serious movement for production, and whatever we need to come out with, it's a basic, it's a key thing that will really help our country to be very much higher middle income economy by 2030 or much better. So by using artificial intelligence, it's actually the right time. It's a right tool that can work with NDS to make sure that we achieve all our goals, because artificial intelligence basically is evolving. It moved from artificial intelligence, machine learning, neural networks, deep learning technologies, the large language models that are being used, the ChatGPT, the DeepSeek, all those things, they help us to leapfrog or leverage intelligence. Then we are now moving to AI agents as well as agentic AI. You can actually see the movement that our country will be a better country with artificial intelligence. This is the right time. We need the parole management system. We need all those intelligence systems that we need in this country to make sure that whatever we are doing, whatever we are making, and I can tell that these are what we can say artificial decision-making systems. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Musiri, and thank you, Zimbabweans. Thank you, viewers. We are still here at the Rainbow Towers, continuing with our conference, and we shall continue to give you more resource persons. That was Professor Musiri unpacking the use of artificial intelligence in the parole management system. Thank you.